into our draft. Now, usually we hold this at the end of the show, so a little bit of a change of pace here. We're going to be holding it or doing it before the mid-roll because we got something else in the back half that we're going to do. So we're going to do our draft of the best NBA players to never make an all-star team.
Yes.
Much like we did last week, best players to never make a Pro Bowl. Now we're here with the NBA, best players to never make an NBA all-star team. Dallen, you had the first pick last week. I will take the first pick this week. This will be one I think you're going to take me to school on, Dallen. You're going to take me to school on it. You're the basketball guy. I'm not so confident. I'm not so confident in this draft, to be completely honest with you.
I think, this is I had a lot of fun doing the NFL one. The best players should never make a Pro Bowl, right? There were some really interesting names that, you almost forget didn't make Pro Bowls. And this NBA one is equally as intriguing. A lot of really good players that we'll talk about on this list. But there's a lot of names to pick from. I'm sure you'll have a great top five. But if you're ready, man, you got the 101. So let's get this thing going.
All right. So with the 101, this is tough already. I'm going to go with a Bulls legend, guy that won multiple titles with the team, was the facilitator in that offense, great defensive point guard. I'm going to go Ron Harper.
Mitch, that is like the number one. That is the 101. There's a couple names you could put up there, but I'm right there with you that Ron Harper should probably be the first name off the board.
I mean, elite defensively, great facilitator. I mean, enabled Jordan and Pippen to do off-ball things because he facilitated exceptionally well. And like I said, I mean, this guy defensively, you put him in this era against a lot of other point guards, he's going to absolutely embarrass them. So Ron Harper for me is a guy that it was absolutely shocking that he did not make an all-star team in his career.
Yeah, never an all-star. And you mentioned obviously the Jordan days. I mean, this guy is a 5-time NBA champion. He played a lot in the 90s for those Bulls teams, but many may not know 80s and the early 90s, he played for both the Cavs and the Clippers. He was putting up 20 points a game, multiple seasons. He has 5 seasons of averaging over 20 points a game as a point guard. And 5.8 assists, 7 assists. He had 22 and 7 one year, 1989, 1990. So again, it's like you look at this guy and you wonder, how did he not make it? So many good years at high quality basketball. It was a great era for point guards. A lot of good point guards in that era, and he just missed out because of that. But I love that you took him 101 because, I think he is the most deserving 101 in my opinion.
Fun fact about Ron Harper, as good as he was on defense, also never made an all-defensive team.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, might be one of the most underrated point guards of all time. Who knows?
For sure. Love it. All right, I'm up now with my first pick, and if it wasn't going to be Ron Harper, Mitch, it was going to be this guy for me. So with my 101, I will take Sweet Lou Williams, the one of, if not the greatest sixth man of all time. There's a couple guys, and they might end up on this list. It's good 6 men out there, but Lou Williams, never an NBA All-Star, played for a lot of different teams, and 3 times Sixth Man of the Year award. But I mean, he averaged 22 points in 17-18 with the Clippers. He averaged 20 points the next year with the Clippers. 17 points with LA with the Lakers in 16-17. He had some really good seasons, and obviously got his accolades as the 6th man coming off the bench, but arguably could have been an all-star in some of those seasons. So got to be Lou Williams here.
Yeah, that was going to be the next guy on my list. So good spot to take him here. Lou Williams, 3 times 6th man of the year. Like you said, probably one of the greatest 6th man of all time. Probably right up there with another guy that may be drafted in this list. But Lou Williams, Sweet Lou, that's a great pick.
Yeah. All right, I'm back up with my second pick, and I'm going to go with a personal favorite, one of my favorite Lakers of all time. He married a Kardashian. I can't remember. I don't keep track of the relationships. Lamar Odom. We're going Lamar Odom
God
with
damn
the
it.
second pick here. Lamar Odom is, it's funny, Mitch. He came about like a decade early in the NBA. You talk about like position, think about a wing, guards, four positions kind of guy, does all the dirty work on the wing. That was Lamar Odom. 6'10, 220, played power small forward, but switch out on guards, guard bigs. He could play bigger, he could play smaller. Lamar Odom was that dude, averaged 13 and 8 over his career. He was the sixth man of the year. But he had, hit some really good seasons, averaged 17 and almost 10 rebounds with Miami in 2003, 2004. Obviously, with the Lakers and those championship runs, he had some really solid seasons alongside Kobe. Had averaged double doubles multiple times. Never cracked the All-Star. Again, when you're with Kobe and Powell, those guys are going to get the accolades, and you're probably going to miss out. And that was just kind of his case, right? He was the third player on a really good team, and you're just not going to give three guys an all-star nod. And so Lamar Odom misses out, but he's certainly deserving of this list. Number 2 for me.
Damn it, that was going to be my next pick.
I should have. I took him because I almost passed, but I was like, no, I gotta have him. So I'm glad.
I should have known he wasn't going to make it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great pick,
Yep.
Lamar Odom. Like one of the few lefties that I like vividly remember shooting a basketball.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, great pick, Lamar Odom. Down, I'm going to go with another forward for mine, kind of from the same era, a little before, long career, famous bald head, now a TikTok star apparently. I'm going Richard Jefferson.
Oh, I wanted Richard Jefferson so bad, Mitch. Those were the two I was debating. I was like, which, Odom or Richard Jefferson? Yes, TikTok star.
I mean, this guy averaged over 20 points twice.
Yeah.
Both years with the Nets. He was part of the all-rookie team in 01-02. The guy was he was one of those grinders, man. He was also one of those guys that was never the best player on his team. Much like Lamar Odom, he was the second or third guy when he was in his prime. And he's going to be one of those guys that goes down as constantly overlooked because there was so many guys at his position during his playing years, his good playing years, that just far outshined him at the power forward spot. So Richard Jefferson is going to be my second pick.
Yeah. Jefferson's such a good one. And, he was so young on that Nets finals team that faced the Lakers, right? And it almost feels like if that had just come a couple years later, then he would have got his just due, but he just hadn't developed into that guy yet. And by the time he did, the Nets weren't good, irrelevant anymore. So he sort of just fell by the wayside and, earns a ring with LeBron and the Cavs in 2016. And I love Richard Jefferson. He's great. That's such a good pick here. Such a good pick. I love it,
man. Yeah. I love Richard Jefferson. My third pick, I'm between a few. Part of me wants to go to another Bulls legend, another Bull champion, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with Mike Conley. Mike Conley.
Mike Conley did make an all-star.
Did he?
Yeah, Mike Conley made the all-star with the Utah Jazz in 2020-2021 season.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, he did. I'll be darned. I should check articles that I read before. I should fact check myself. I'm not doing Mike Conley then. Scratch that from the tape. Okay, so I'll go with the second guy that I was considering. I'm gonna go Jason Terry.
Jason Terry. That's a great pick. He was on my list.
Jason Terry. Another guy that was I think he had one of those who had dunked on him really, really bad. Like,
Oh, I don't remember.
he was posterized by some guy, and I can't remember when, but a guy that was also just a really consistent guard, played exceptionally well, knew his role, another great passer of the basketball, but also a guy that got to the rim exceptionally well as so he could put up big numbers with the points as well. He averaged 13.4 for his career, but you take away those last 5 years where he was kind of not like on the back end of the second rotation off the bench. You take those years away and he's averaging, right around that 17, 18 points per game mark, while averaging in the 4 to 5 assists game, 4 to 5 assists a game mark. So Jason Terry played at a time with a lot of good point guards and probably just overshadowed and never really quite maybe filled up to the hype that he was supposed to be as well.
Yeah, I think Terry's a great one. And, it was a big part toward the tail end of his career. I spent a lot of time in Dallas, but towards the end of that stay helps them win the title in 2011 alongside Dirk and them. And, but those early Atlanta years, he was putting up buckets. Even those early Dallas years, he was putting up buckets, as you said. So, yeah, I think that's a really good pick. Sixth man of the year in 2008, 2009. So, again, one of those, sixth man coming off the bench, heater kind of guys, but couldn't crack an all-star. So love it. All right. Yeah. Back to me. Third pick up for me, and I'm going to go with the other sixth man of the year. When you think of the award, you usually think of Lou Williams or you think of this guy, Jamal Crawford.
Yep.
So we'll take Jamal Crawford, third right here, 3-time sixth man of the year. And, just like Lou Williams, he had one season with the Knicks in 2007, 2008, where he averaged 20 points a game. He had a couple seasons where he's just under that, 19.7, 18.6. But, man, just a consistent guy, averaged 14.6 points per game for his career, which is pretty impressive for a guy primarily off the bench. So, Jamal Crawford was that guy coming the sixth man of the year. So, surprising with again, you look at Lou Williams and guys like him, you put up all those numbers, but it's hard to be an all-star when you're primarily coming off the bench, even if you're averaging 20, 22 points a game. So it's kind of how it is, but Crawford was legit.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, coming off the bench is so tough to make an all-star team. I didn't check this guy's stats, but another sixth man that I'm pretty positive didn't make an all-star team was Bobby Jackson, and he comes to mind a lot when we talk about these sixth-man guys that can come off the bench and score 20-plus on any given night, but we're never going to get that all-star nod because, they're playing off the bench, and come all-star time, they want to take the guys that are a starting five guy every single night. So, but Jamal Crawford, an exceptional basketball player, an exceptional role player for anyone that he has played for throughout his long career. So,
yeah. All right. I'm back up. I got my second pick here.
I almost got antsy because I really want this guy and I hope you don't take him. So,
no, I'm going to take the man who was a great player. Maybe he deserves credit for his mom inventing a new name that now feels like every NBA player shares the name. Yes, he got embarrassed by Kobe Bryant, but he was still a fantastic player. Well, Jalen Rose for number 4 here. Jalen Rose, never an all-star, but averaged over 14 points per game for his career. Had a stretch there with Indiana in the early 2000s and with the Bulls where he was averaging 23, 22, 20 points per game. But just not on great teams and not really, in the sort of relevance of the NBA. So couldn't crack through as an all-star despite putting up some really good numbers in the peak of his career. So pretty surprising when you see the numbers he put up. But yeah, I'm going to go Jalen Rose here, number 4.
I mean, despite his, great career that he had, he's always going to be remembered for getting embarrassed by Kobe Bryant, the 81-point game. And he was on my most recent top 5 most punchable faces. So I have to
Yeah, that is true. I mean, he does have a punchable face. Well. Yeah.
So I do have to keep that in mind with Jalen Rose. But that aside, career accolades wise, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. Great guy to have on your team. Dallen, you didn't take the guy that I wanted, which is great. Because I still get a shot at him. I'm going to go with Serge Ibaka.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with Serge Ibaka. Like now, he's not the scoring type, right? He's not a big scorer. In fact, his career high for points per game was only 15.4. But this is a 3-time all-defensive team player, a 2-time block champion, won a title in 2019. Won a title in 2019 with Toronto. This is a guy that, for all the defensive reasons, should have made an all-star team at some point. Unfortunately, the NBA is a scoring game, and they're going to overlook that for the big point scores, the flashy ticket sellers, if you will. Serge Ibaka is not necessarily a ticket seller, but damn it, was he so solid on the defensive side of the ball. I think that he should have deserved at least a couple nods throughout the course of his career. So I'm going to go with Serge Ibaka with my 4th pick.
Yeah, I like that a lot, Mitch. And, I like highlighting a guy who was a great defensive player, made 3 straight first-team all-defense in the NBA from 2010, 2011 through the 2012, 2013 season. I mean, he averaged 3.7 blocks per game in 2011, 2012. That is insane. So yeah, I love that. I love that. Give him the shine to the defensive player. Serge Ibaka.
Yeah. Serge Ibaka.
Okay. One pick left.
One pick left.
It's getting tough.
It is getting tough. I'm going to go with an old guy. I'm going to go with an old guy. Well, let's not word it like that, but I do appreciate the history of the game. I'm going to go with Cedric Maxwell.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to go with Cedric Maxwell, a longtime Celtic, a 1-time Clipper, 1-time Rocket. This guy was one of the better players on this Celtics team through that late 70s, early 80s run. Of course, he got overshadowed by all the other great Celtic players that were there, Larry Bird being one of them, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, all of those guys overshadowed Cedric Maxwell. But this was a guy that was averaging at the peak of his career, so anywhere between 14.8 to 19 points per game. He was a great defensive piece, averaging a steal a game throughout the course of his career. A great rebounder. It's almost just a hair under 6.5 rebounds a game. This guy was a great all-around basketball player that never got really the full recognition that he deserves because he was overshadowed by the Larry Birds, the Robert Parishes, the Kevin McHales of the era. So I'm going to go with Cedric, and I love his nickname, Cornbread Maxwell.
Well, I love it. That's a great pick, Mitch. I'm glad we threw it back a bit to highlight some of those players from a little later in the history of the NBA who made an impact but didn't get the shine. He won a Finals MVP. So you know what? Never an All-Star, but a Finals MVP. That's awesome. Love that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I got my final pick up here. And I'm excited that I got this player. I kind of thought you were going to take him. Maybe he's not even on your radar. I guess we'll find out. But I am taking a guy who started his career with the Vancouver Grizzlies and was a key cog on one of the greatest NBA teams to never make a finals. We're going Mike Bibby.
Yep.
Kings
that's a good one.
Legend Mike Bibby, who averaged 14.7 points per game over his career, 5.5 assists as a point guard. I mean, and you look at that, again, that Sacramento era. He came to the team in the 01-02 season, left for Atlanta in the middle of the 07-08 season. So in that stretch, I mean, he had a 4-year stretch where he averaged at least 17 points a game. At one point in 05, he was averaging 21.1 points per game and 5 assists. And this guy wasn't making all-star games, But again, you know, you had Chris Webber, you had Peja Stojakovic, you had a lot of other really good players on that team who are probably taking the attention, and you're not a big market. You're Sacramento, so you're not getting multiple all-stars a lot. Now, you know, it happened this year for Sacramento. Sabonis, Fox, you know, those guys are great. But yeah, he just kind of got left out. But yeah, you look at his numbers, and I don't know how he didn't make one in those Sacramento years, at least one. So yeah, Mike Bibby's going to be my 5th pick here.
Mike Bibby's a great pick. And you know what? I'm ashamed that he's not even on my list. Because he was great. And you mentioned like the big names, the Chris Webbers, the Peja Stojakovic's that overshadowed him. But those Kings teams in those early 2000s also had so many great role players that it was, you could even be overshadowed by them. I mentioned Bobby Jackson earlier, Hito Turkoglu.
Oh yeah.
I met, you know, was it
Brad Chocolate on those teams, wasn't
Jason Williams, Doug Christie. I mean, like there was a lot of
Christie. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of great role players on the team. It was really easy to get overshadowed on that team that was just so cohesively good. I mean, they had the superstars, but cohesively that team went so well together that it was going to be tough to outshine one another in that situation.
Yeah, that's a great point. But all right, man, that was fun. We got some solid lists. Let's roll through these one more time for the folks, Mitch.
So, all right. So I got Ron Harper, Richard Jefferson, Jason Terry with my 3rd pick, Serge Ibaka with my 4th, and rounded off with Cedric Cornbread Maxwell.
All right. And I got Sweet Lou Williams, Lamar Odom, Jamal Crawford, Jalen Rose, and Mike Bibby, the best NBA players to never make an all-star game. Never be an all-star. This is surprising to hear some of these names on this list, but fun to get a chance to shed some light on these guys and give them some love despite getting overlooked in their NBA careers, huh?